Donald Trump was interviewed this morning on Fox News by brown-nosing sycophant Maria Bartiromo. She was actually a pretty damn good financial journalist 20 years ago. I used to watch her when I was getting into stock trading early in high school, and now she is just a Trump suck-up on the Fox Business Network. This interview aired this morning, but it was previously recorded, as I gather. And the interview was an absolutely unmitigated house of horrors. I want to go through some of the most bizarre and disturbing moments with you. We could spend all day just looking at this interview, but I want to pick just two important moments. Maria Bartiromo gave Trump a softball interview like she always does, and yet Trump is so clueless. His ignorance is so lethally weaponized that even Maria Bartiromo couldn't save him with softball questions. So let's take a look. Now, to get this first thing out of the way, the goalposts are again being moved on the coronavirus death toll. Now, Trump is talking about we're going to have more than 100,000 deaths. And that is a great victory because of how much worse it could have been. Check this out and look at how casually Trump has doubled the expected number of deaths from just 3 weeks ago, and yet is still calling it a victory thanks to him.
We're going to lose over 100,000 perhaps in this country. Now, in all fairness, that's at the bottom level of the scale. We would have lost 2 million. We would have lost more if we did it a different way. But you're talking about 100,000 more, a little bit less, more? Who knows? It's a terrible thing. No, so that can't be replaced. We're spending trillions of dollars on all of the damage economically, financially that it's caused. So it is a terrible thing. It's just an incredible thing.
So he says that's at the bottom. We could have lost more than 2 million people. So there are two important takeaways here. Yesterday, we did a debunking about we're now testing as much as South Korea per capita. Important to understand the genesis of that disinformation. I want you to now understand the genesis of this 2 million thing that we hear. A couple things that are important to know. Number one, the goalposts have been moved into the locker room and they will soon be out in the parking lot. For a month or longer, Trump was talking about we may lose 60,000 people, and that's going to be a really great job that we'll have done. We blew past 60,000 deaths. So Trump starts talking about, listen, we could lose 70 or 80,000 people. We hit 70, and Trump started talking about could be 90 to 100,000. Now Trump is cavalierly and casually saying, we're going to lose more than 100,000 people. And as long as he always predicts a number slightly larger than what we have, eventually he's going to be right. Eventually he will say, we're going to lose 200,000 maybe, and we'll get to 195, and he'll say, we stayed under it. 40% of the country falls for it. 40% of the country will hear this and believe Trump knows what he's talking about, no matter how many times he shifts the number. More importantly, here's what I really want people to understand. This comparison of the death toll always to 2.2 or 2.5 million, the deaths we could have had if Donald Trump didn't act. Understand that 2 million deaths is if literally nothing is done. Now, this would be impossible because governors do things. There is not going to be any scenario where governors were doing nothing. In fact, the governors did stuff before Trump did. We saw stay-at-home orders and starting to quarantine and the like at the state level before Trump did anything. So when Trump says, understand where 2 million comes from. 2 million is, we have 331 million people in the country. 70% of the country gets the virus. That would get us to herd immunity if 70% got the virus. That means about 230 million people get the virus. We expect an infection fatality rate, not a case fatality rate, an infection fatality rate of about 1%. 1% of 231 million is 2.3 million. So that is literally no mitigation. So when Trump says, listen, we're going to lose 100,000 instead of 2 million, thanks to me, it's a worthless comparison that says nothing at all about Donald Trump's response. The important point is we're now at 85,000 deaths. We're expected to hit 100,000 in about a week or 10 days. The numbers will continue climbing, but Trump will claim victory no matter the death number because he has set 2.2, 2.3 million as the bar that he is keeping us below. Next clip. Clip of Trump exhibiting such a poor understanding of trade, economics, and manufacturing and foreign policy that he actually says, if we end our relationship with China, our financial relationship, our relationship of trade, we would save $500 billion. I'm going to play the clip. Trump seems to think if we stop importing and exporting with China, we, quote, save $500 billion. Take a look at this.
Have you spoken to Xi Jinping?
I have a very good relationship, but right now, I don't want to speak to him. I don't want to speak to him.
Because, Senator Cotton was saying maybe we should be limiting the amount of visas that we give to students who want to study things like quantum computing.
There are many things.
And AI.
There are many things we could do. We could do things. We could cut off the whole relationship. Now, if you did, what would happen? You'd save $500 billion if you cut off the whole relationship. Look, at what point does it, and I said this for years, I said it with other countries also. China's not the only country ripping us off.
This is one of the most incoherent things that Trump has actually said in his presidency. And I'm going to explain to you why. First, there's this idea that we save $500 billion. I believe what Trump is talking about is our trade deficit with China. As recently as a couple of years ago, I had trouble finding the numbers from last year, but a couple of years ago, we had a $500 billion trade deficit with China. What that means is we import $500 billion more in products from China than we export to China. We have a deficit of $500 billion. So it seems that Trump, who has the economics understanding of a fruit fly, thinks if we cancel all trade, we end up at zeros, meaning the $500 billion deficit goes away and it's like saving $500 billion. Now, this is not how trade and economies work. The $500 billion trade deficit with China would go away if we were to stop all trade with China. Maybe it doesn't even really work that way. But then we would have a massive deficit in terms of the products that we all take for granted. And then prices would explode on a whole bunch of stuff because our economy is based on cheap stuff from China. We would have to, there's a couple options. If we stop trade with China, on the one side, for importing, we either have to import from other countries the stuff we get from China, which just shifts the trade deficit and it would explode demand for these products in the new countries we deal with, bringing up the prices. That doesn't sound too good for American businesses and individuals. If we decide to manufacture all of the stuff we get from China internally, I mean, it would be impossible, but imagine that we did. It would take years to build those supply chains, but imagine we did it. Stuff would cost way, way more because the reason we get these things from China is because they're cheaper and our economy is based on that. And then you also have to remember a ton of our businesses would fail. If we stop exporting to China, as Trump says, which would save us $500 billion, as he puts it, all of these American businesses that are exporting to China go under. What do you think the economic impact would be of that on employment, on disposable incomes, on the stock prices, as Trump might see it, of these companies? This is so absurd and crazy. And it is almost inconceivable that an American president would have such a lack of basic economic understanding. And Maria Bartiromo, through no fault of her own, she's a disastrous Trump brown-noser. Through no fault of her own, she has exposed Trump in this interview as completely and utterly clueless, not just on coronavirus, we knew that, but also clueless on economics to a degree that even those of us following this for the last few years would arguably be stunned and appalled by. No understanding whatsoever. We're going to have more about this on the David Pakman Show Instagram. That's David Pakman Show on Instagram. Also, on my personal Instagram, it is planting day today. We are past the frost here in Boston. Follow me at david.pakman on Instagram to follow the urban gardening adventure. A lot happening there in the next 24 hours. Check this out. The first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a premium membership to Skillshare for 2 months completely free. Skillshare is the online learning community with thousands of classes on almost anything you can imagine, always taught by experts. They have classes on drawing, painting, photography, video editing, web design, running a small business, and much more. I recently took a very interesting class called Simple Productivity, How to Accomplish More with Less, and got a bunch of great personal productivity tips out of it. We should allow ourselves a little time every week to either get creative, keep your brain sharp, learn something new, It's great for mental health, and almost all the classes are under an hour. So it's very easy for someone who's busy to take advantage of it. With Skillshare, you can discover a new passion, explore something you didn't know you would enjoy. But there's also plenty of classes for people with experience, so you can just get better at something you're already good at. And again, the first 500 people who see this video and go to davidpakman.com/skill will get a completely free premium membership for 2 whole months, giving you access to every class Skillshare offers. Check it out. I put the link right underneath this video.